My dream when I started learning Blender was to learn a new skill that would attract clients to my video business. 2 years after starting my Blender journey, I finally got to work on my first paid project. So in this video, I want to show you what to expect from your first client shoot and the results I was able to get from mine. So first of all, every job that you're going to work on is going to be different. They're going to require different amounts of time, work, skill, equipment, so I'm by no means claiming to be the end-all be-all. But even if my experience is very different from yours, you'll still learn something that'll help you on your projects. I'll break down all the different shots and the ideas behind them in my commercial, but first, I'll just show you the final result.
Like us, you want to choose the best security company, not trusting your home monitoring and family's peace of mind to just anyone. ETC Security is trusted, locally owned and operated here in the North Georgia area. Our cutting-edge security and camera systems give peace of mind wherever you are, at a price we're proud to offer our friends and neighbors. You're ready for a better local security service. Give us a call or visit us online at etcsecurity.com.
And so to start, let's go ahead and look at this first shot. This is obviously full CG. I did my best to make it look photoreal, and maybe it does to some people, but to me, it just looks animated. The lighting, the models, and especially the camera animation just takes away from the realism of the shot. But this shot that ended up in the commercial was not the one we originally planned at all. We'd actually already gone out onto location and filmed a $3 million house with a drone, but as you can see, the footage does not look good. We came on a day that was cloudy and really at a time that the lighting just wasn't the best, so I decided to just make the house full CG. It took a little bit of extra time on my part, but I think it yielded a much better result, even though the CG isn't perfect. This was especially important because this was my first client, so I wanted to leave a good impression to over-deliver so that they would want to work with me in future and that they could recommend me to other companies that wanted advertisements. The original plan was actually to have the first 2 houses be completely real, but since I had already remade the first house in CG, it didn't really make sense to have the second one still be a really lackluster shot, so I decided to remake that one as well. So I set up a new house, a new environment, and tried to make it look photoreal. My client wanted this one to be in the daytime, so I knew I couldn't just use the darkness of the night to hide all the different flaws in my CG like I did with the first one. So I really did try to make this one look photoreal. I don't think I quite got there, but maybe that's just because I can see all the flaws in the CG because I'm the one that made it. I'm really curious to know what you think about this shot, whether you thought it was amazing or awful, especially if you have a background in visual effects. So leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I'll try to respond to every single one. But anyways, that's enough about that one shot. The next sequence is 3 shots long, and it's meant to convey how ETC is a personal company that's local and will help you set up your security systems. These shots were pretty straightforward. I just bought a new camera prior to filming this commercial. It's the Sony ZV-E10, and I also got the Sigma 30mm f1.4 as the lens to film on, which is a pretty big upgrade from the Nikon D5300 kit lens I was shooting on before for all of my other videos. So I wanted smooth and stable video for this sequence that almost has a dreamlike feel, which if you know anything about film, you know that means it's slow motion. So I shot it at 1080p at 120 frames per second, which when slowed down, it looks good in this scene. I'm pretty happy with how most of these shots turned out, but the weakest one for sure is the car pulling up. I don't know what's necessarily wrong with it. I tried to spend a lot of time color grading it and tried to fix it, but it still almost just looks like it was shot on an iPhone or something. I thought about redoing it in CG, but that just wouldn't match with the rest of these other clips, and it would take a lot of extra time to make it look real, so I just decided to keep it in there. Anyways, I color corrected and graded these clips, slowed them down to the appropriate speed, and that's pretty much it. It was pretty simple. The next shot of the camera is pretty interesting though. If you see my video on lighting, you'll recognize this camera. I used it sort of as a demo in that video, but this was definitely the most simple of the CG shots I had to do. I modeled this camera, which was super simple to do. It was basically just like a couple spheres and circles that I adjusted a little bit and then added the lens. Super simple model. This was the first time I had modeled a lens in Blender, so I followed a tutorial by Derek Elliott where he shows you how to make the lens glass. Basically, you just use curves and trace the schematic of the glass elements inside of a real-life lens so you get accurate reflections. After that, you just add like a screw modifier, convert them to meshes, and then add a glass material and you're pretty much good to go. After that, I added some simple lighting, which I went over in my lighting tutorial, Then I added some Boolean text so I'd have a little bit more control over it than a build modifier, and just animated all that together, which was super simple. Added in the camera animation and just rendered it out, and that was pretty much it. After the camera shot, there's a shot of a woman drinking coffee on her porch. We knew we would need this shot in the commercial to sort of convey the peace that you get when you have a proper security system, and I just used my mom as the actress because it was way less hassle than having to coordinate with other people and get them all in location, and it essentially does the exact same thing. It wouldn't have changed if anybody else had been in the position she was in. All I did for this shot was essentially just add a diffusion panel behind her where the light's coming from to give a soft light instead of the hard sunlight. Then I shot at 120 frames per second, slowed down the footage a little bit, and shot it all in a gimbal to make sure it was stable. But that's pretty much it. It was really dead simple to film this shot. For the shot of the security sign, I just used the environment that I'd already built for the house in this shot here, and then just placed the security sign in the front yard. One thing I did notice while analyzing these CG shots in this commercial is that the camera animations could have been better. And it's not that necessarily they look bad, they just look unrealistic. I mean, cameras don't really move like that in real life. It would have probably been a much better choice on my part to choose camera animations inside of Blender that sort of match the ones I was using in real life for the real shots and the rest of the commercial. But instead I sort of went a little crazy with it and used all these constraints and fast moving cameras. It just doesn't really look real. But anyways, other than just plopping the sign into the environment I already made, I just added a couple of extra lights to make sure the sign popped and was visible, and then just rendered it out. The next shot of the handshake I just filmed on the same day as these shots. It was really just a spur of the moment thing I thought would be a good clip to have, and it ended up working well in the edit. The last shot is a real drone shot where I was actually able to film in good weather and at a proper time to get golden hour lighting. I ended up blurring out the footage so that the end screen that ETC wanted to put up would show up well. But other than that, there's pretty much no edits other than a slight color grade that I did to that clip. So that's all the different shots and how I made them, but there are a few key mistakes that I made while filming this that I want to help you prevent making in your projects. First of all, you always want to make sure that you have a concrete plan of the entire project before you film. When working with clients, you want to be confident and knowledgeable about what the commercial is going to be and how it's going to make the audience feel. I mean, it's not like making a YouTube video or Instagram reel. You have to deliver on what the client is expecting, even if that means biting the bullet and completely redoing unprofessional looking shots in CG, having to fix it all in post. So it would save you a ton of time if you have a concrete plan of exactly what you need to capture when you show up on set. Second, if you can make your shots look more cinematic, that's great, and it'll help the company you're working for look more professional. But the main goal of the ad is to increase the company's revenue. So make sure you focus on conveying the intended ideas to the viewer. Cinematic shots don't make up for having a bad concept and idea in the first place. So always check with your client and get the green light on your idea and shot list before production. Alright, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then you can subscribe, or you can just watch this video over here.